Hey guys, so yeah, I haven't really done a vlog video in a while. Um, Sort of like a lot's been happening recently, and like I've been kind of busy, but some of the stuff that's been happening, I've been trying to distract myself from, um, and that, um, yeah, like, and we're having now to make both me and John, sort of talking things through and having to make some big decisions on some stuff, like whether we should put in to move from the home we're in. Um, and that is like it's a big change, especially for someone on the autistic spectrum. Change is difficult to deal with, especially as well if you have mental health and like anxiety and stuff. It's like a lot to deal with. Like John himself doesn't want to move. He says if that's our only option left, then yes, he will go ahead with it. But he doesn't want to move because he's comfortable here. Even though the flat we're in has black mold that is affecting both of our health, like the place is falling down around us. He's like, well, I'm comfortable here. I like this area. And I agree with him. I'm comfortable. I like the area. We have a beautiful view. But the main reason I want to move is I no longer feel safe in my home. And that is because we've had a lot of issues over the past year or two with one of our neighbours. They've just, like, I'm not going to go through everything that's happened because the police are involved and everything, so yeah, but it's just not been good. I'm not sure what has caused or why. Well, I am sure it just doesn't make sense. Like, I'm not the type of person to get to know my neighbours. If they say hello to me when I pass them in the corridor, I'll say hello back. I'll be civil and everything. But I don't tend to make friends with my neighbours because of past experiences growing up with nightmare neighbours. So I don't tend to make friends with them. I just close my door and that's that. So I've never done anything knowingly to bother my neighbours. But again, because we live in a tower block, like I can't remember exactly how many flats, but it's something like 13 floors. And I think there's what, 8 flats on each floor, something like that. So what, 100, couple of 100 flats? I don't know. I'm no good at math, but hundreds of people all living on top of one another with thin walls, thin floors. You're going to hear your neighbours, You're going to hear your neighbour cough. I do sometimes. I hear my neighbours cough. I hear my neighbours with kids going out to school in the morning, I hear the kids running down the corridor giggling and doing what kids do, I hear my neighbours' taps going on and off because it's really old pipe work, really old building, and I think something to do with water pressure or something. It makes the taps hiss. The pipes all hiss when you turn the tap on. And yeah, so noises in a tower block, unavoidable. you know, and so you have to be really tolerable of noise living in a tower block, which, even though I have the sensory processing issues because of the autism, I'm still quite tolerable of noises. I'm used to being in a noisy environment. I grew up in a house with four or five other kids, and it was constantly noisy. So I'm used to that kind of noise level. So I'm quite tolerable, but it seems my neighbour is not. And every time I turn my kitchen tap on, that's it, all hell breaks loose, because he can hear the hissing of my kitchen tap through the pipework. He starts throwing a tantrum, shouting through the wall at me, threatening me, and the threats have escalated, and now they're not just threats anymore. He's actually started to act on things. At the moment, he hasn't really done anything major apart from stick things through my letterbox, which does worry me, because I have a cat and I don't want her trying to eat anything that comes through the letterbox, because I've heard stories about people putting poison through letterbox to kill their neighbours' pets because they're sick of their neighbour's dog barking or something, So, I am worried about that, but I'm also worried if he sticks something dangerous to me, like my partner was saying about stick a firebomb through the door or something. I'm like, I'm sure he's not going to go that far. It's just petty, silly, stupid things at the moment, like putting grass through my letterbox, because I called the police on him when he started to threaten to come kick my door in and break all the bones in my body and beat me up and shit, So, excuse my language. But, yeah, so it's like, and the council housing people are involved as well as the police, and they're trying to see if they can fix the problem and trying to arrange things like, oh god, I forgot the word now, but it's when they get both parties, sit them down and try and talk it through. Mediation, that's the word. They're trying to arrange stuff like that, but the problem is the neighbour does not answer their door to the police or to the council. He does not answer phone calls from the council. He does not answer letters from the council. So, without him cooperating, they can't really do anything. So they have to wait for him to escalate and do something that they can arrest him for. You can probably hear one of the neighbours in the other block shouting at the moment. See what I mean? Noisy place. There's like 5 or 6 tower blocks all in a row. And yeah, the place gets noisy. There's always someone shouting. But yeah, so they've got to wait for him to escalate, do something that they can take action on, they can arrest him for. And the thing is, I'm like, I don't want to sit here waiting for him to actually follow through on his threats. I don't want him to kick my door in and attack me. Why should I be the little bit of bait to coax him out of his flat so you can arrest him? So I'm seriously really worried for my own safety. So I'm now looking into getting a management move or a management transfer or whatever they call it. Which in one way it's a good thing getting a move, probably, because there's many reasons why I should get a move. I mean, I live in a tower block. The only ways in are the lift and the stairs, and if the lifts break, then that means I'm stuck here because I can't walk up them stairs, walk up and down 8 flights of stairs. So, yeah, so if the lift breaks down, I'm stuck. So moving somewhere where it's a ground floor accommodation would be better, so then I won't get stuck in my home. And I won't have to worry about lifts breaking down. Obviously, again, the black mold, that is a good reason to move, because that is affecting my health and John's health. We think that's why he keeps getting the bronchitis, because of the black mold, because he had it before, and it's recently just come back. At first he thought he might have had COVID, but no, he doesn't. It is bronchitis again. So he's going to be going seeing the doctor again to help get something to clear that up. And I keep getting issues with my nose, with my I keep getting nasal infections and stuff. And we believe that it's the black mold causing that as well. Because when I leave my home and I'm out in the fresh air, I feel a lot better. And John said the same thing, and I said, well, there you go, it's the flat, it's the black mould in the flat doing it. So yeah, it's probably going to be better health-wise for me to move. So see, I'm just sat weighing up the pros and the cons. John's biggest con on moving is he will forget that we have moved, and he will accidentally come back here thinking this is his home when it's not, and try and walk in. So yeah, and he's which I kind of understand that, you know. He has got memory issues, so have I. Also, he finds it difficult to learn new areas, if that makes sense. So it took him quite a while to learn where we live now, to learn Weston, and where the shop is, where the bus stops are, what buses to catch to get out of Weston, what buses to catch to get in Weston, you know, that kind of thing. He got lost a few times when we first moved in there, but but yeah, so it takes him a while to learn, to get his bearings when he's in a new place. So I kind of understand that, because I struggle a little bit sometimes with that as well. But I'm hoping if we do manage to get a move, we can get a move to the same area, because I do like Weston. I like Weston Shore, especially in the summer. You know, it's going down there, walking along Weston Shore, or rather now me wheeling, buzzing along Weston Shore. And I like being able to go all the way up along to Netley and Victoria Country Park and stuff like that in the summer, having picnics up there, having barbecues on the shore, stuff like that. I enjoy that. So I don't want to move away from that. I want to see if I can try and stay within this area. But then another part of me goes, well, wouldn't moving closer to the city centre be more convenient? You'd be closer to friends, closer to family, closer to the shops. You know, it'd be easier to get to the hospital when you need to and stuff like that, you know. But yeah, so like it's weighing everything up, and yeah, so, and at the moment I'm trying to think of reasons to leave my flat because I don't want to sit here waiting for next door to decide he wants to throw a tantrum and act on some threats. So I'm trying to think of any possible reason to leave my flat. But then, of course, I have a cat, so I don't like to leave her for too long on her own. So I don't want to go out every day, all day, and just leave my poor little Squeak sat here on her own. So yeah, and again, that's another reason why it might be difficult to move. Because Squeak and her mental health and the fact that she's got anxiety and she's very timid and scared, she will not go near the front door. As soon as she hears the front door open, that's it, she's gone, she goes and hides. She won't even get up on the windowsill on her own to look out the window, I have to coax her up onto the windowsill and I have to be sat there with her for her to feel safe to be there looking out, So taking her out of this environment where she feels safe to a completely new environment, that's gonna shake her mental health a little bit. So that's another reason why, another con, so it's really difficult. It's a really difficult decision, and it's going to take a lot of thinking. Hopefully we won't need to move. Hopefully the council and the police will sort out this issue with my neighbour without it going any further, without him acting on threats. Hopefully they'll sort that. Maybe move him somewhere where he's going to feel more comfortable, because I do believe that mental health is involved with him as well. I think he has, from what I've been told, he has mental health issues as well. So yeah, maybe the noise of this tower block he's not used to, and that's what's triggering his mental health episodes. I don't know. So maybe moving him somewhere better for him, somewhere quieter for him, would be better. And then hopefully the council will come and sort out this black mould issue. Because I found it's not only in the bathroom, it's in the kitchen as well. And there's one of the neighbours shouting again. The council are doing work in the area. They've been mowing the grass, cutting down some of the dead trees that have been kind of half blown over in the wind of the big storm we had a while ago. So they've sort of been doing work in the area, and it's been a bit noisy. You can hear their mowers and their saws and drills and whatever it is they're using. And one of the neighbours in the other block is getting annoyed by the noise and keeps shouting out the window at him to shut up. You could probably hear the saw now. See, it's unavoidable noise because they have to make the area safe for the residents, and having trees that are about to fall on you, that's not safe, is it? So they're just trying to make it safe for everyone. And it's the middle of the day. It's 19 minutes past 11 now. So yeah, they're not doing the drilling or sawing or whatever it is late at night. So yeah, it's just, I don't mind the noise, it's just the neighbours when they start to shout things out the window. Yeah, I can understand being annoyed with the noise, but there ain't much you can do about it, Or there is, go through the proper channels and report it to the council, But it's when they start to shout abuse, racist stuff, stuff like that. Especially if they're shouting it at children as well. I mean, I've seen my neighbour shout horrid things at children that are passing by. I mean, little 4, 5, 6 year olds walk into school with their mum or whatever, or walk into the shop with their mum, not doing anything wrong, not making any noise, just, doing what a kid does, running about as they're walking along to the shop. And my neighbour will start just randomly shouting out the window at him. He doesn't even know who they are. He just feels like shouting at someone, so shout at a little kid. Why not? Start calling a little kid racist names. And what confused me is the kid was white, the mother was white, but he was shouting the P word, the N word at this little kid, and this little kid just stopped and was like, what's that? Looked around and looked up at him, and then he started using the R word, S word, and shouting things like that at a little kid. The mother was horrified, grabbed her child and kind of hurried out of the area, and it's like, what made that child deserve that? Like, come on, mate, chill out. You don't shout things like that at a child. You shouldn't be shouting things like that at an adult, chill out. But yeah, so like, I get that kind of abuse from him almost daily. And there's that woman again. Okay, so the woman shouting, she's one of the local people. She used to live in this tower block, a couple of floors above me. She got evicted because she was shouting abuse out of the windows all the time. People reported her to the council. The council warned her, and then to retaliate to those people who reported her, she started throwing things out of the window at people who were trying to enter the block. And again, she's throwing things. She threw an Xbox one day. I think it was an Xbox or a PlayStation. She threw it out of the window. And a guy was walking in, and it was literally, me and John were watching out the window. We were on the phone to the police at the time, and it was that far from hitting him in the head. It landed straight in front of him, and he kind of went white, jumped backwards and was really shocked, and looked up at her and started shouting. And then he grabbed his phone, and he was on the phone to the police. And then I saw neighbours across the way in the other tower block on the phone to the police as well at their window. So she got evicted and she got put in prison for that. A couple of months later, she got released. She was banned from entering the area, apparently, but she still keeps coming back because she has, I think, a partner or a friend or something that lives in the opposite tower block of mine. She keeps coming back. They keep telling her to go away, that she's not allowed here, but she won't go away. She'll stand outside the tower block screaming at the guy she knows to let her in. He keeps shouting out the window at her, no, go home. You're not supposed to be here. And then in the end, he has to let her in, because if he don't, she'll stand out there all night, all day, screaming and shouting. And again, her problems are fueled by alcohol, drugs, and mental health. Again, so she gets in that mood and starts screaming and shouting, so it's, yeah. And she came back the other night. She started screaming and shouting late at night to be let in, and he kept saying to her, no, go away. In the end, he had to let her in. The police keep getting called to her, and I think they've just got fed up. They just don't bother anymore. They don't come and take her away anymore. you know, because they've just got fed up. They got better things to be doing than chasing around after a woman who is high as a kite, drunk, throwing a tantrum, you know? They got better things to be doing than that. And I fully understand them there. I mean, because there's rapists, murderers, and stuff that need to be caught, you know? So I fully understand where they're coming from there, but still, it's just crazy, you know? And it's when their mental health and their outbursts start affecting other residents, that's where it's a bit difficult, because again, us other residents have rights as well, and we have the right to feel safe in our own home, you know, so, and we have the right to report them, and stuff like that. So the council and the police are trying to uphold our rights as well, whilst also trying to uphold their rights, whilst also being tied up with red tape, because if they're not answering correspondence or the door, there's not much they can do unless they feel that the person's life is at risk, or they're at risk of harming someone else, you know, or they're going to harm or have harmed someone else, you know. So the case with my neighbour next door, the police can't just go and kick his door in and grab him, arrest him, take him to prison or wherever, you know, because they've got no due course or whatever it's called, you know. They can't, you know, because when they arrive, he's completely silent. There's no sign of him. It's like he's not even there, you know. And then they come knock my door and said, "You made a report about your neighbour?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Is he in?" I was like, "I heard him about 2 minutes before you arrived. He must have known you were coming." And it is like he knows that they're coming, because every time the police come round, and the police have been called a lot to him, same as the council, whenever they come round, knock his door, a couple of minutes before they arrive, that's it, complete silence from him. And then after they've left, probably about a couple of minutes to an hour or so after they've left, that's it, he's shouting his mouth off again. So it's like he does know they're coming. And someone said to me, "Oh, well, maybe he has one of those police scanners, so he can hear when they're coming, he knows." I was like, okay, well, that's probably it then, you know. But I don't know. It's, to excuse the noise, council are cutting down trees and chipping wood and I don't know, doing whatever. But yeah, like, got a lot to think about there, you know. So and I'm starting to look into getting a support worker to help me with some of this, because it is a lot to deal with. So hopefully I can get a support worker. I'm going to be speaking to my doctor and getting some help there with my mental health again, because my anxiety is playing up again because of all of this. So yeah, I'm going to go speak to my doctor about that. I'm also going to speak to my doctor about the black mould, see if he can do anything to help me, like maybe give me a letter or something that I can give to the council that will help towards the management move. Yeah, so yeah, like, there's a lot that, like, I've got to do, but I just, like, partly I don't want to do it. I don't want to. It's really stressful. I just want to ignore it and just play video games. But no, I've got to do it. But yeah, anyway, in other news, I recently had a birthday. I'm now 35 birthday was a couple of days ago, last week. Had a party at the weekend for it, which was quite fun. Had a few friends over, some family over. Yeah, it was good. One of my birthday presents John got me. He also got me the game as well. Tiny Tina. So yeah, he got me the Tiny Tina Wonderlands game and the controller. It is awesome. I love this controller. So cool. So yeah, me and him were playing that the other day. It's a really good game, really fun. If you're into the Borderlands game, it's similar to Borderlands because it's a spin-off, like a little side game, because they took one of the DLC from Borderlands, I believe it's Borderlands 2, and they made that into a standalone, so it made that into a game of its own, which was the Tiny Tina's Assault on Dungeon Keep. I keep getting confused whether it's Dragon or Dungeon. Because there was a similar game I used to play years ago with a similar name, so I get confused. But yeah, and Tiny Tina's Wonderland is sort of like a spin-off of that DLC, the next part, because people enjoyed that DLC so much. They were like, this would be epic if it was a game on its own. So they kind of have made a game out of it. But yeah, it's very similar to the Borderlands. Obviously, the graphics wise, with the cell shading and stuff like that, and the comic booky feel. But it's also very different from Borderlands. Still have similarities, like with Borderlands you had the badass rank, you got something similar. The skill tree in Borderlands, you've got something similar there as well. Got the action skill, but there's more character customization, which is good. Yeah, and I'm not going to give too much away about it, but it's similar to Borderlands but different, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm quite enjoying the game. But yeah, apparently there's still one more birthday present in the post. Should be arriving any day. John ordered it before my birthday, but it's not. He said it wasn't going to get here until after, because I think it's coming from like overseas or something. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm now 35. I don't want to be 35. It's too old. I'm going grey. Like, I've got grey and white hair. It's horrible. Getting old. In one way I'm pleased that I'm old, but in another way I'm not. Because one way, the reason I'm pleased that I'm old is because when I was younger, when I was born, I was told I probably wouldn't live past my early 20s because of the Marfan syndrome and heart condition. My dad, who also had Marfan syndrome, he died at, I believe it was 25, 26. So yeah. And then I nearly died anyway from the Marfan syndrome and my heart issues when I was about 26. So luckily, I mean, I had the similar issues my dad had with his heart, and he had a heart operation the same age that I had my heart operation, only he had complications after surgery and didn't survive. Me, I survived the heart surgery, even though they said if they left it any longer longer, I probably wouldn't have lived through the next week. They said they were actually surprised that I was still alive, because the aneurysm was at that point where it was anything could set it off. It's a ticking time bomb. Anything could set it off. A strong sneeze could have killed me at that point. Someone just tapping me on the back to say well done could have killed me. That's how bad it was, and I survived that. So at 26, so I'm happy that I've succeeded doctors' expectations on my life expectancy, but I'm not happy that I'm getting grey hairs and wrinkles and stuff. But there you go. It's stress, that's what it is. We're blaming stress. Stress is making my hair go white. Literally is, like big thick white hairs, and they're like every day I wake up there's more of them, and it's like big clumps where there's like white and grey hair, it's horrible. But yeah, so I've got to do some more research on this management move stuff. I've got to look into a support worker, because that's something that I've been struggling with ever since I was a teenager. Apparently I was always told, oh sorry, no, you're not entitled to a support worker, or oh sorry, we're not the right support workers for you, you need other ones. And see, because I have physical disabilities, learning disabilities, and mental disabilities and mental health issues. So, and the problem is with the system and the support workers, you have support workers for physically disabled people, support workers for mentally disabled people, support workers for learning disabled people. But you do not have support workers that deal with all of them at once. And that's what I need. I need one that will deal with all of it at once, but there are none of those. So I keep getting told, sorry, we can't help you because we deal with physical, not mental. And I'm like, well, I have physical disabilities as well, so can you help me with that? And then maybe I can get another support worker who will help me with my mental. And they're like, yeah, but we can't assign you to. It's like, oh. Okay, I will just sit here and melt down alone then. Thank you, but no thanks. Bye. So yeah, it's like, so I've got to figure out how to get a support worker. Maybe I should pretend not to be physically disabled, because at the moment it's the mental health I need help with. So I'll just pretend not to be physically disabled. I don't know how I'm going to pull that off. Because my physical disabilities are very much visible, and are very hard to hide nowadays. So, or maybe, actually, I've had an idea. Maybe John can get a support worker, because he has more mental health issues and learning disabilities than he does physical. So he might be able to get one on basis of mental health. I'll have to discuss that with John. That might be a route. That might be an idea. Because now he's a tenant, because we got him signed on as a tenant of this flat. Because before I was a tenant, he was a lodger, so he had no rights, real rights over the flat. And that sounds mean, you know, but when we first moved in here, when we were homeless and we signed up onto the housing register, he said to me, no, put the flat in your name, because that way if things don't work out between us, then I move out and you keep the flat, you have all the rights. And he said, I'd rather you be safe and secure and have a home. And he said, because I can hack it on the streets, I've got other places I can go to stay, you don't. And with your disabilities, you need the security. So he said to me to put my name down on the tenancy as the sole tenant, and he'll be a lodger. So yeah, and because we'd been here, how long have we lived here? We've lived here like 12, 13, 14, 15 years. God, my memory's not that good, but we've been here quite a few years. So in the end, we started talking about it, and he said, well, there's no, like a few years ago we talked about it, and he said, well, there's no real reason to put my name on the tenancy anyway, so, you know. And then obviously over the years, reasons have popped up, and we're like, well, yeah. And because my health has got worse, it's got to the point now where John's gonna need security in the future. So we've put his name on the tenancy. So yeah. And now this is as much his home. It's always been his home, but on paper, it's as much his home as it is mine now. So he has more rights, so he may be more entitled to help from the authorities around that now, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's something I might have to discuss with John. So hopefully he might be able to get the support worker, and they'll be able to help him get a move, which means I'll be moving in tow because I'm also a tenant. So yeah, I'll just piggyback on his support worker. Yeah. So yeah, like, got all this stuff to do, and like, I don't know what she's shouting. I don't know if you could hear that. I don't know. I don't think she's even shouting words. I think she's just making a noise out of her window. I don't know. It's crazy. But anyway, I think I better let you all go. But yeah, big decisions and everything. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully I'll do some better videos in the future. I'm hoping to do some more arts and crafts videos, and still I've got to do the Warhammer painting video. I've not got around to painting those yet. I've been so busy and had so much on my mind. I've just not been in the right mindset or had the time to do it. And then we've got to do the knitting videos with John, haven't we? So hopefully we can get them done. It will happen. Might be next year, but it will happen. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I shall speak to you all later. Bye bye.